Welcome to the Movie Spoiler Club, the channel where you can watch movie, television, and streaming series within minutes. Today we're going to spoil the movie Titanic, 1997. This movie story plot is about Jack Dawson, Leonardo DiCaprio, and Rose Bukater, Kate Winslet, as members of different social classes who fall in love aboard the ship. An epic action-packed romance set against the ill-fated maiden voyage. Titanic is the pride and joy of the White Star Line and at the time the largest moving object ever built. She was the most luxurious liner of her era, the ship of dreams, which ultimately carried over 1,500 people to their death in the ice-cold waters of the North Atlantic in the early hours of April 15, 1912. Images of the Titanic's first sail cascade through the frame that plunges into the haunted depths of the ocean. Submarine divers are surveying the wreckage of the magnificent ship called the Titanic that sank April 15, 1912. The ship has been overtaken by algae and ocean plant life. The submarine lands on part of the wreckage and unleashes a mini-submersible to explore inside the ship. Once inside, you can see grand archways, crystal chandeliers, and personal belongings from the many people that lost their lives that morning. The crew seems to be searching for something in particular. The drone finds a bedroom. There the controller spots a wardrobe. The robotic arms grab the door and flip it over on its side. Once out of the way, a safe is uncovered. They lift the safe from the wreckage to break it open and reveal the contents inside. The crew is so excited, they pop champagne while the saw slices through the safe. The safe reveals no crown jewels or money, just soggy bits of paper. The remains are taken to their lab where they try to uncover the details of the paper. They uncover a portfolio case that has charcoal drawings of a woman wearing nothing but a necklace. An elderly woman is spinning clay on her back porch. While she works, the TV grabs her attention. On the screen she sees they've uncovered some interesting items from the Titanic. Rose makes a call to the man she saw on television. She asks if he has found the necklace known as the Heart of the Ocean. The man asks if she knows who the woman in the photo is, and she admits, "The woman in the picture is me." They arrange a meeting. They ask her to share her account and experience on the Titanic. She begins to cry but remains strong. "It's been 84 years and I can still smell the paint." The story flashes back to 1912. Rose is young with not a single wrinkle in her skin, and her fiery red hair cascades in curls. Her fiancé, Cal Hockley, is right beside her. They board the ship and pass off all their luggages to someone else to carry. Meanwhile, Jack Dawson plays a spirited game of poker. Jack's winning hand scores him some extra cash and 2 tickets aboard the Titanic. Jack and his buddy Fabrizio better move fast if they don't want to miss their voyage. They bolt in a hurry and manage to board the ship. Later, Rose is at dinner with her mother and Cal, among several other guests. She abruptly leaves the table and rushes toward the end of the ship. As she runs past Jack, who is gazing at the stars, he takes notice of her and decides to follow her. Rose reaches the end of the ship and stares into the dark, freezing water below. She begins to climb over the railing. Now she stands gripping the railing, contemplating suicide. She is interrupted suddenly by a man. The man is Jack. He convinces her to climb back over and to live another day. When she turns around to face him, their eyes meet and there is an instant connection. She begins to climb back to safety when she slips. Thankfully, Jack has a strong grip on her and pulls her over onto the deck of the ship. Rose couldn't help but scream during the slip, and the noise brought attention to the crews on deck. When the crew finds the two of them on the floor, it looks like Jack was taking advantage of Rose. Rose dismisses those suspicions and explains that she slipped trying to look at the propellers. Jack is invited to dinner for his heroic act of kindness. That night, Cal visits Rose in her bedroom with a gift, the astounding diamond, known as the Heart of the Ocean. He drapes it around her neck and its beauty is overwhelming. Unfortunately, she doesn't seem to love Cal as much as she loves the diamond. The next morning, she runs into Jack on the deck. They playfully jab with each other, and that blossoms into a sweet relationship. Rose learns that Jack is an artist and sketches often. Molly Brown, who is in the same social class as Rose's family, approaches Jack and offers to help him with his outfit for dinner. Once dressed, he looks stunning in his tuxedo. Before dinner, he waits patiently for Rose. Rose is impressed. At dinner, he wins the approval of everyone except for Cal and Rose's mother. Jack invites Rose to spend some time with him below the deck. There's a lively party. He asks her to dance. Rose shrieks with joy as they bounce to the sounds of Irish step. She's never been more alive. They drink beer and smoke cigarettes. There is a wonderful night of fun. But Cal's spy Lovejoy lurks in the stairwell. The next morning at breakfast, Cal confronts Rose about her exertions below deck. He warns her that she should never take part in activities like that again. Their argument escalates and Cal throws the breakfast table between them. Rose is frozen with fear, and more confident than ever that she isn't meant to be Cal's wife. Then Rose's mother reminds her that their marriage cannot fail because they have no wealth to fall back on. Their family's well-being depends on the legal marriage of Rose and Cal. After church, there are murmurs of ice warnings. The captain assures those within earshot know that it is typical and nothing to worry about. Jack sneaks in to speak with Rose. They sneak into an empty room, where Rose tells him she can't see him anymore. Jack insists that Rose is trapped, and he doesn't think she loves Cal or her life. She says he can't save her and he says you're the only one that can do it. That day during lunch, Rose starts to notice exactly what Jack was talking about. Later that evening, she meets Jack at the end of the ship and says that she has changed her mind. The music lifts as they gaze into each other's eyes. He guides her to the front of the ship and holds her hands in his and raises them up. He slides his hands to her waist as she soars through the wind. They share a romantic kiss while the sun sets on the Titanic. Together they go back to her room where she asks him to draw her picture like one of the French girls in his portfolio. She pulls out the necklace and specifies that she wants to wear the necklace so it will be in the picture. Jack gets comfortable in his chair and prepares to sketch. Rose slips onto the couch after taking her robe off. The music swells again with soft piano notes. He stamps the date on his sketch once he has finished, and they kiss. Jack returns the necklace back to the safe. Rose dresses while Jack grabs some fresh ocean air. Lovejoy goes to the room to search for Rose. The two bolt to escape, but Lovejoy spots them and begins to chase them. They push their way onto an elevator to a lower deck, so low that they make it to the engine room. The two continue to wander through the storage and come upon a vehicle. They're in the backseat. Rose kisses the tips of his fingers lightly until their passion boils over. The couple shares an intense moment together inside the car, trembling from the cold and naked in love. Meanwhile, Cal finds the drawing inside the safe. The sketch is a clear sign that Rose is ending her relationship with him, and she is more interested in Jack. This not only insults Cal, but it is also infuriating. Rose and Jack wander onto the Lido deck as the moon soars above them. Rose tells Jack that when the ship docks, she is getting off with him. This moment of bliss is interrupted by one of the crew members spotting an iceberg. The entire crew gets the alarm and works together to avoid hitting the iceberg. The lookout watches as they glide right from the mountain of ice, waiting patiently for the ship to turn. But not enough time for the ship. It collides. The sound of metal and ice screech, and the conic shakes through the ship. Water begins to burst through the lowest levels of the ship. Jack and Rose stop to watch as the ship passes by the gigantic iceberg. The watertight doors are closed. The captain checks in with the crew to assess the situation. Passengers are slightly alarmed, but the crew maintains a calm and cool attitude. Cal reports a robbery. Moments later, Rose and Jack arrive. Cal orders the crew police to search Jack. When they search his pockets, they find the necklace which Lovejoy slipped it in. He is arrested and detained. The crew questions whether the ship will survive. The shipbuilder Thomas Andrews admits the ship will sink in 1 or 2 hours. Within the hour, the crew is suggesting life vests and formal attire so passengers won't get panic. No one seems to understand the gravity of the situation. In an hour or so, the ship will be at the bottom of the Atlantic. Rose already knows there aren't enough lifeboats. Rose has to find Jack. She gets directions to where Jack would be detained and she goes there to find him. She can't find the key to his handcuffs and has to find someone to help her. She ventures back out to get help, but the water is coming in quickly. She returns with an axe. She frees Jack from his handcuffs, and the two of them make their way to the top of the ship looking for a lifeboat. Jack tries to get Rose on a lifeboat since they allow only women and children on board first. And then Cal also joins in. He wants Rose to be safe. Jack insists that he will be fine, but Rose doesn't want to separate from him. They are able to make Rose board a lifeboat. The boat lowers, and the two watch her inch down to the water. Jack knows that Cal isn't going to take care of him as he told Rose. Rose stares at the faces around her and then at Jack. She leaps from the boat onto the Titanic. She races to Jack and they meet at the grand staircase. Cal sees the two embrace from above and can't contain his rage. Mr. Lovejoy tries to pull him back to a lifeboat, but Cal turns and pulls a pistol from his jacket. Cal chases after them, shooting wildly. The ship groans in agony as it drowns in the ocean. Jack and Rose escape from Cal and together have to escape from drowning on the ship. Once Cal gives up the chase, he works to find a lifeboat of his own. He manages to find a child and uses that as a ticket to a lifeboat and to safety. The band continues to play through all the panic, confusion, and chaos. The water floods the Lido deck and the last of the lifeboats are cut out from ropes with knives. Jack explains that they have to climb higher and stay on the ship as long as possible. They make their way to the very end of the ship where they first met. They both climb over the railing as the ocean pulls the ship under the surface. The boat cracks and the back end crashes into the water and then bobs forward. The ship plunges deeper into the ocean and Jack directs Rose to hold her breath on his cue. They watch the water carefully and wait for the time to be right. Just before the railing touches the water, they inhale deeply and the ship disappears into the ocean. Jack and Rose get separated under the water, and when Rose bobs to the surface she can't find him. She shouts his name until he finds her. Together they swim to a piece of debris. Rose climbs on top of the door, and Jack assures her that the lifeboats will come back for them. An hour passes and one boat comes back to search for the living. Rose's hair is frozen with her skin almost blue. She turns to Jack, who is also frozen. She tries to wake him but he doesn't respond. Rose realizes that Jack couldn't survive in the freezing water for that long. She frees her hand from his, as she cries tears of sadness for her love that she lost. Jack's lifeless body slides off the door and falls into the black water. Rose swims toward a nearby dead victim that has a whistle. She blows into the whistle until the lifeboat that come back hears her. Rose is one of 6 people rescued from the water. She arrives in New York and renames herself as Rose Dawson. When the morning light dawns, she warms herself in the sun with a blanket. Cal has also survived and decides to search for Rose among the rest of the survivors. Rose shields her face from his gaze and waits for him to leave. From there she lives a new life, a life that Jack had taught her to live. When the scenes flash forward to present day in the ship, she explains that Jack saved her in every way a person could be saved, and he only exists in her memory. That night Rose wanders out on the ship in her nightgown. From her pocket, she clasps the necklace in her hands, the heart of the ocean, revealing that she has it all along. It is inside the jacket Cal put it on her. She walks to the edge of the ship and tosses it into the ocean. Movie trivia. Do you know that after finding out that she had to be naked in front of Leonardo DiCaprio, Kate Winslet decided to break the ice, and when they first met, she flashed him. This movie gets the movie rating of 7.8 from IMDb, Tomatometer rating of 89 and audience score of 69 from Rotten Tomatoes. Thank you for watching and be sure to hit like, subscribe, share your thoughts in the comment section, and hit the notification bell for the new movie spoiler video every week.